and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. Hi, my name is Kendall and here we talk about all things makeup related, and sometimes other stuff. Today I am doing a retrying out products that I initially did not like. So I have two products that I am heavily focusing on in today's video, and that is the Sassy by Savannah Chrisley Eye and Face Palette. I did a review on this palette a month ago or maybe 2 months ago, and I originally gave it a okay review, but since then I was kind of messing around with the shimmer shades on here, and I had some questionable thoughts about the palette. So I'm going to be focusing heavily on this today, and also the e.l.f. Camo CC Cream. I recently did a review on this comparing it to the IT Cosmetics CC Cream. I just don't like CC creams in general, but I did want to give this another go underneath a different primer. I am going to be finishing off my face with the rest of the items that are in the Stay Sassy Savannah Chrisley collection, just because they didn't necessarily wow me, so I wanted to give them another shot on camera to see if any of my opinions changed. I'm not doing this video to be a jerk. These just didn't wow me. You guys know I keep it 100% real on here, so I did want to give these another shot. I'm going to be doing my makeup, and then I'm going to hop off camera, take a break, and come back in a few hours, and we'll see how everything held up. So if you are interested in hearing my updated thoughts on these products, then please stick around. Okay, so let's start off with the Sassy by Savannah eyeshadow and face palette. I did a video on this a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago. I'll have it linked up here and also down below. And in that video, I gave it a decent review. I said it's not great, but it's not bad. But then about a week went by that I was playing with it, and I did update the description bar that said, do not buy this palette. I do not recommend it. And I'm here today to tell you why. If you don't know, this is a brand by Savannah Chrisley. She's absolutely beautiful. Her and her family have a reality show called Chrisley Knows Best. I watched it the first season, but I don't really like reality TV, so I don't really know much about it, but I've always thought she was so stunning, and I was really excited to see that she had a makeup line, so I picked up everything in the collection. And this palette is only $22, and this is everything that you get. While this is only $22, I feel like I got completely robbed. Let me just tell you what this palette claims on the website, and then we'll discuss. All right, the Sassy Full Face Palette includes 15 highly pigmented matte and shimmer eyeshadow shades. There are 57 reviews on the website. 55 of those 57 reviews are all 5-star. Let me just go ahead and show you what it looks like up close. So the neutral shades in here, like this brown, these like taupey browns, like very neutral shades, they perform fine. They're nothing special, but they're not terrible. Like, let me just swatch this shade right here. This brown is called Hey Y'all. So here's the shade Hey Y'all, super pigmented. It's a very pretty matte brown. The look that I did in the video with this that I posted a while back, I actually really loved. I went back and watched that video before I sat down to film, and I loved the look that I came up with. But again, I only use these matte brown shadows. So let me just show you, like, which one do I want to go with? This shade right here, Once in a Blue Moon, look how dried out that looks. And I'm going to swatch it, so I'm really getting in there. And that's what it looks like on my finger, so you think, wow, that's gonna be a really pretty shade. Barely there. It almost comes off gray, like it's a very dull gray color. And in the pan, it looks like this really gorgeous shimmery blue. Let's go ahead and try the shade Fine and Dandy. This like really supposedly pretty green shimmer shade right here. Again, I'm gonna go into it. That's what it looks like on the finger. I'm gonna try to pick up a little bit more. It just feels very dry, like nothing's coming up. Okay, I'm gonna swatch it right here. Incredibly sheer. There's no shimmer whatsoever, and it's just like an extremely dull, barely wash of color. Again, I have a problem with it making the claim on the website that these are highly pigmented because they are in fact not. They seem to have the matte shades down really well. Like, let's take the shade Darling right here. Like, I feel like they're onto something with the matte formula. It's not bad at all. It's not my favorite, but again, not bad. So I went ahead and primed and taped up my left eye. I used the Urban Decay Primer Potion per usual, and I'm gonna zoom you in and we are going to create a look. I'm going to be focusing heavily on these shimmery shades since those are the ones that I have a gripe with. So obviously we'll do like a matte in the crease, and then from there on, we're gonna stick with the shimmer. So let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, first up, I'm going to just go into the shade Pretty as a Peach, this pretty neutral matte brown color. And I'm going to be using that as my transition shade. Okay, no problems at all with that shade. Again, I never had a problem with any of the mattes. Next up, I'm going to go into the shade Precious right here on that same brush just to deepen up that crease a little bit. And I'm putting that just right over my natural crease line, still keeping it pretty low because I am going to use a concealer to cut my crease just so I can give these shimmers a fair shot to have a white base underneath it so they can really pop and do their thing. I do really like the whole layout of this palette. It's a little big, but considering like you can fold it up like this, it's a pretty, I mean, I don't know. I hate the outer packaging on it. I think it looks like Claire's makeup, but I like the idea behind it. I just don't think the execution was very well thought out. Okay, awesome. Stay. Are you kidding me? Okay, so I'm going to take my ColourPop No Filter Concealer in the white shade and I'm going to cut my crease. This palette just makes me so angry. And then, oh wait. So we're gonna go pretty heavy with the shimmer again because I would love for this palette to prove me wrong and it'd be great. So I'm going to literally pull out all the stops to see if I can get this to work. I'm going to go into this shade right here, Suit Your Fancy, and I'm going to be putting that in the outer V of my eye and really packing it on. It just looks so dry. It doesn't look like anything is picking up. Okay. Okay, we got some pigment. Wow. I wasn't expecting anything to show up literally at all. So I'm pleasantly surprised. Very cool, very cool. Now I'm going to go into the shade Fine and Dandy. I don't have any rhyme or reason to this look I'm creating. I'm just like trying to use as much of these shimmers as possible. Okay, I'm really getting in there, as you can see. What the heck? Okay, so you know what? So just as a little experiment here, I'm going to watch this because I just tried this. I'm really packing it on my brush here. And then I'm going to directly put it on the back of my hand. Do you see how like nothing is like barely anything is showing up? But on my eyes over the concealer, it's working pretty nicely. So that is the trick, I suppose, and that is why when I tried using these before, it looked horrible. Okay, so I'm just going to bring that color all the way in almost, and I'm just going to leave like a very small portion of that inner corner open. Oh my god, this is such a pretty shade. I'm not gonna lie, before I decided to film this video, I was like gonna give this palette away to my friend's daughter because I was like, well, none of the shades show up and it's not pigmented and she's like 10. So it would be like her being able to play with makeup without it being like too pigmented, you know? So I actually really like that. Wow. Okay, next I'm going to just take my finger into the shade Ain't It Pretty right here, and I'm going to put that in the inner portion of my lid. It's just so weird because product barely picks up. So I don't know how it's like getting so much pigment on my lid. And then I'm just going to take a little brush right here and go into the shade Sheer Class and put that like right in that inner corner and blend it out. So I'm going to work on blending everything together a little bit and then go to the other eye, and then we'll be back to do the lower lash line. Okay, so I know I look absolutely insane, but I wanted to test something to see what it would do. So if you can see, do you see how this right here is like a completely different color than this right here? So this is that shade. So this is that shade Suits Your Fancy, which is that blue shade that we used. This is it without any concealer under it, and this is it obviously where I put it over the cut crease. So with my highly scientific research, I would say that you have to use a white base under these shadows. Again, that's why they weren't showing up, because you have to use a white sticky base to get that color to show. Because that right there, that looks like just a dull, like what even is that? Look at that. That's why it was swatching so horribly, and that's why it wasn't showing up on my eyes beforehand, because I wasn't using a white base under it. For the lower lash line, I'm taking the shade Suits Your Fancy, and I am just putting it right under here. And like we just discussed, it's not showing up as vibrant because I did not put down any concealer under there. So it just looks very like dull and gray toned. But I'm really glad I know now that I like these. Okay, my eye makeup looks insane right now, but we're gonna fix it and clean it up later. We are moving on to the second product that I'm giving a second chance, and that is the e.l.f. Camo CC Cream. Mine is in the shade Fair 120N. I did a video on this as well. I'll have it linked, and I just didn't like it. I don't really like CC creams. I feel like this, it looked kind of heavy on my skin. I just have come to the conclusion that I don't like CC creams. They're not for me, but I do want to give this another chance and try it under a different primer. I didn't like this because I feel like it really accentuated my problem areas, and it really clung to like my nose and my chin, and it just didn't look flattering. But I've discovered a new holy grail product. I know I'm very late to the game, but the Milk Hydro Grip Primer, I've been using this constantly ever since I got it, and I really, really love it. So I put that all over my face, and I'm going to be using that underneath the e.l.f. Camo CC Cream to see maybe, hopefully, if that makes a difference. So we are going to go ahead and go right into it. Take it, I'm just going to pump it out on the back of my hand, and I'm going to blend it in with a brush at first, and then I'm going to go back in and press it in with a damp beauty sponge. That is my favorite way to apply any sort of foundation. So I know on camera this looks very, very light for my skin, but I did just rub primer all over my face, which made my skin really red because I was touching it, so keep that in mind. All right, that is in, and again, I am going to be wearing this throughout the day, and I'm going to come back later and do like a check-in just so we can actually see what everything is looking like. Okay, so another product that I wasn't a huge fan of was the e.l.f. Flawless Brightening Concealer. There wasn't like anything wrong with it. I just wasn't like super jazzed by it, so I'm going to be using that. The main reason I'm not a fan of this product is because of the like clicky. I don't like these clicky tubes because I feel like you just end up with so much wasted product. And if I remember correctly, this dried down super quickly, so I'm going to be doing one eye at a time. And yes, I am now realizing that I should have waited to do my lower my lower lash line. So after this, I'm going to redo that. Yeah, I don't see any difference. Like, I don't see any difference from this under eye to this under eye. If anything, it just looks like it emphasized texture. I woke up this morning and my skin chose violence. I have bumps all over my face because I'm using one of those masks that it brings all the impurities up to the surface so that, you know, eventually they'll go away. But my face is bumpy today. I don't notice any difference prior to using the little concealer stick. I don't know. I don't think it does absolutely anything. Moving on to bronzer, I'm going to go in with the face palette again. Remember these not being like bad, they just weren't my favorite of all time. I'm going to go in with the shade Debutante right here. All right, next I'm going to go in with this color right here. This is the shade Peachy. And these blushes do have like actual specks of shimmer in them, which I don't like, but I do think that looks really pretty though. I like that color. The shimmer isn't coming up on my face that I can see. Okay, so finishing it up with the palette that I thought that I absolutely hated, I'm going to go into the highlight shade Glam right here. Looking at the monitor, the highlight looks really pretty, but it is kind of emphasizing texture a little bit, but it is a very powdery, almost chalky feeling highlight. Any highlighter that has that kind of consistency is going to do that. I'm going to kind of push it in with my beauty blender a bit. Moving on to eyeliner. This is the Precision Liquid Eyeliner by Sassy by Savannah, same brand. And this is in the shade Brown. I did actually really like this the first time I used it, but then as I progressively kept using it, I found it to be super dried out and just not the greatest of all time. So I'm going to try it out again on camera. I'm gonna have to get really low so you're not gonna be able to see me, so bye. Okay, so the eyeliner is on. This eye look is so bold, it definitely warrants a black liquid liner, but since I have it in brown, we're gonna work with what we got. It doesn't layer very well on top of eyeshadows. You can see it's already picked up right on this lash line. Like the color's already like disappearing right before your very eyes. It's like a little magic trick. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and set everything. I'm gonna use the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting All Day yada yada yada. Okay, so as you can see, or maybe you can't see, the eyeliner on this side completely disappeared after I put the setting spray on. So not waterproof. This one's still holding on, but definitely something I wanted to know. It literally just like instantly disappeared. Okay, so this is what we are working with right here. Take a mental picture. All right guys, so that is the look. I'm going to hop off and I'll be back in a couple of hours and we'll see how everything held up and I will give my final thoughts on everything. And we are back. It has been a few hours since I last filmed. How many hours? I have no idea because I have no idea what time I started, but I know it's been a long time because I'm so tired and it's now dark outside. So let's start with the eyeshadow and face palette first. I'm going to zoom you on in. So the shadow on this eye looks pretty solid. However, over here, I don't know why, but hopefully you can tell, there's like a bald spot right here, like right in the crease, and it's not happening over here. So I'm not really sure what that's all about, but I figured I would note it. Other than that, it's held up pretty well. I am pretty impressed with the pigmentation on the shimmers. They're not great. Let me make that perfectly clear. I feel like I was like overly excited about how they looked on the eyes when I was trying these out, but that's how a standard shimmer should perform in an eyeshadow palette. I was just super impressed that anything showed up considering the swatches were obsolete. So shadow looks pretty good, with the exception of this like wacky bald spot that's happening. The liquid liner is garbage. It's almost completely faded on this side. The product is completely disintegrated on top of the shadow that's below it. And then on this side, the wing just, as you saw, as we discussed earlier, the wing just completely went away after I used the setting spray. So I would say that the Sassy by Savannah Chrisley Precision Point Liquid Eyeliner, definitely skip this. First video that I filmed using these products, I thought this eyeliner was fantastic, but then like it was like a one and done. Like that after that video, it was like just completely dry. So can't recommend that. As far as the bronzer, blush, and highlighter, everything looks fine. Again, not my favorite. The blush and the bronzer, I think, are pretty nice. The highlighter, like I said earlier, is definitely emphasizing texture. I can't see it picking up on the monitor, but up close when I look into my magnifying mirror, definitely see it sinking in to all like the fine lines right here. So with all that being said, this is definitely not a bad palette like I thought it was. My opinions on this definitely changed from the beginning of the video. I think this is fine, but for me personally and what I like to use, this just doesn't fit with my collection, and I'm probably never gonna use this again because while it's fine, I have palettes that I love so much more. So I am going to be giving this away to a friend because I feel like this would be a fine palette for literally like the average everyday person, but I have so much makeup in my collection. I'm trying to make like a conscious effort to only keep what I actually really like. So while this is fine, and if you were interested in this palette, I would say go for it. I'm giving it my stamp of approval. If you don't have a ton of eyeshadow palettes or like face products, then I would say this would probably be really nice for you, especially if like you're just getting into makeup, because it's nice. It's a nice palette, but for me, I have so much makeup in my collection. This is just gonna end up taking up space, and it's just not benefiting my collection in any way. But good news, I got this to stay shut, so. So let's move on to the e.l.f. Camo CC Cream. I'm going to bring you in once again, nice and close. Okay, so let's take a look at my skin. So I will say, I do like it better this go around than when I tried it the first time. And I'm 1000% going to credit the Milk Hydro Grip Primer for that. This primer, if you haven't tried it yet, please do. I do believe they sell a smaller version of it if you want to get a sample size, but I absolutely love it. I've tried it with so many different foundations now, and it's completely changed the game. So I think everything looks pretty good on my skin. I will say there is that buildup around the nose. Right here, you can definitely see it. But that's an issue that I have with so many foundations. But typically with any other CC cream that I use, I get a lot of patchiness on my chin, and I even ate dinner before I came back to film this, so I'm really surprised that my chin is still pretty much intact. But the buildup around the nose is pretty bad, and I have horrible blackheads like right here on my nose that will not go away, and so that's where the foundation really sinks in, and I don't know what to do about that, but everywhere else it looks really good. I'm wondering if I got too light of a shade. Like, I feel it's a pretty good match, but I feel if I would have just gone a tinge darker, it would have been a little bit better. But overall, aside from the clinginess on my nose, I think it looks pretty good, and I'm shocked, honestly. The last product that I will mention is the Flawless Brightening Concealer by e.l.f. This doesn't do anything for me. You can already see like the darkness poking out under my under eyes, so clearly this didn't really do anything. Even when I put it on, I said I didn't notice any difference, so I would say that this is a pass. Alright guys, that is it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video of me trying out products that I once wrote off. Let me know if you've tried any of these products, and let me know your thoughts below. I would love to hear them. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. That would mean so much to me, and thank you so much, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!